Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting to dig into some new material.
And today we're tackling Oracle CPQ.
Ah, yes, CPQ.
It's a software that helps businesses manage all those crazy product configurations you see nowadays. You know, when you can customize everything.
Oh, yeah, it's like building a car online. You can pick the engine, the trim level. It can get pretty wild.
Exactly. And it's not just cars, it's everything.
Hmm.
Furniture, software, even industrial equipment.
Makes you wonder how companies keep it all straight.
Well, that's what we're here to find out.
Hmm.
Our source material today is this document configuration product families.
Okay, product families.
Yeah, it sounds kind of basic, but this document dives deep into how Oracle CPQ uses them to structure all that product info.
I'm intrigued already.
Me too. One thing that jumped out at me is that these product families, they're not just some arbitrary internal thing.
Crap.
They're often based on actual industry standards.
I see. So it's not just company A doing things their way. It's about aligning with how the whole industry categorizes things. Right. It's a bigger picture approach.
Makes sense from a data management perspective, too. You want to be speaking the same language as your suppliers and customers.
Absolutely. And the document makes it clear these product families, they're strategic. They impact how the whole catalog is organized, how products are presented to users, the whole experience.
So it's not just about back-end efficiency. It affects the front end, too, how people actually interact with the products.
Right. It's all connected. The document gives some examples like pumps as a family, then getting more specific with centrifugal pumps and steam pumps.
Okay, so you can have these broad categories and then break them down into more specialized subcategories.
Yeah, so it seems pretty flexible. One giant family or many smaller ones.
And I bet that decision has real consequences for how the CPQ system is set up.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Different product family structures could mean you need different catalog templates, different ways of searching and filtering.
It could even impact how pricing is calculated or how discounts are applied.
Right. It all goes back to creating a smooth and intuitive experience for the end user.
Whether that user is an internal sales rep or a customer shopping online.
Exactly. Now, one feature I found really interesting is this deployment concept.
The deployments.
Yeah, the document explains that when you create or change product families, you don't just unleash them on the world right away.
So there's a staging area.
Right, like a safe space to test and refine things before they go live.
That's crucial, especially when you're dealing with complex products and configurations.
Imagine a company launches a new product line with the wrong pricing because they skipped the deployment stage.
Oof, yeah, that could be a disaster.
Not to mention the damage to their reputation.
Deployment acts like a safety net, allowing for checks and balances before anything goes live for users.
Makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about this four-level hierarchy.
Okay, 4 levels.
Yeah, the document lays it out. All product families, then product family, then product line, and finally model.
So it's like a family tree, each level inheriting characteristics from the one above it.
That's a great analogy, and that's exactly what this inheritance concept is all about.
You define an attribute like warranty length at the product family level, and all the product lines and models below inherit that same warranty.
So instead of setting the warranty for each individual product, you just do it once at the top level.
Talk about efficiency, especially if you have hundreds or even thousands of products.
It seems like a no-brainer. But the document also emphasizes that it's best practice to avoid defining anything at the model level unless absolutely necessary.
Interesting. Why is that?
Well, think about it. The model level is like the very end of the line. No more inheritance below.
Ah, I see. So if you defined a bunch of unique attributes at the model level and then something changes, you're stuck updating each model individually.
It'd be a maintenance nightmare, like trying to herd cats.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if a company did want to go super granular at the model level? What are the trade-offs?
It's definitely possible and might make sense in certain situations. Maybe you have a very small number of models with highly unique characteristics.
But you need to carefully weigh the benefits against the increased complexity.
Exactly. You'd have fewer rules to manage overall, but they would be more intricate to handle all those model-level variations.
It becomes a strategic decision based on the specific products and the company's overall approach to CPQ.
Sometimes simplicity trumps granularity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about this hierarchy and inheritance, but what information is actually being passed down?
That's where product line and model attributes come in.
Okay, attributes.
These attributes define the products themselves. It's like well, remember our Lego analogy?
That was a good one.
Color would be an attribute of the brick with red, blue, green, and so on as possible values.
Makes sense. The document uses a great example for an automobile product. Family wheels could be a product line attribute.
While something like brake type could be a model attribute.
I see. So wheels is a characteristic shared by all cars in that line.
But the specific type of brakes might vary from model to model.
That highlights how these attributes capture those unique selling points that differentiate products.
Exactly. And the document makes it clear these attributes aren't just for internal organization. They're also used to power the search functionality on the commerce side of things.
So when a customer searches for a product with specific features,
The system uses those attributes to find the perfect match.
it's like having a superpowered salesperson who knows every detail of every product.
Okay, this is all starting to make sense. But with all these potential attributes, how do companies keep them organized?
That's where the product line attribute list page comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
Think of it as the command center for all your attributes. You can change their order, decide which ones are used in configuration rules, even set a base price attribute.
Sounds powerful. But I'm curious. Oracle CPQ automatically creates 2 attributes for every product, name and description.
Right.
Are those usually enough, or do companies typically need to add more?
While name and description are essential, they rarely tell the whole story, especially for complex products.
Right. You need attributes to capture all those specific details, size, material, features, the things that really matter to buyers.
Otherwise, how would customers differentiate between similar products?
Good point. Is there a limit on how many attributes you can create?
You can have up to 60 product line and 60 model attributes per product family.
Wow, 60 each.
And these attributes can be different types, too. Boolean for yes-no choices, text area for longer descriptions, currency for pricing, and many more.
Okay, I'm starting to see how things could get overwhelming fast.
It's like trying to organize a giant toolbox with a million different screws and bolts.
Exactly. Is that where product and model attribute groups come in?
You got it. They act like folders, keeping your attributes organized and manageable.
So instead of one giant list of attributes,
You can group them logically by category or function.
that makes a lot more sense. So if we stick with the automobile example, we could have an engine group, a wheels and tires group, and so on.
Precisely. New attributes are automatically placed in a general group.
But you can and should create custom groups for better organization.
It's all about making the CPQ system work for you, not against you.
So I've created my groups and arranged my attributes. Can I also change their display order, like if I wanted color to appear before size?
Absolutely. You can rearrange attributes within a group and even reorder the groups themselves.
Okay, so I make all these changes, hit save, and they just instantly appear for everyone using the system, right?
Not quite. Remember that deployment stage we talked about earlier?
Uh-huh. Right, so it's not live until it's deployed.
Think of it like hitting the publish button on a website.
It ensures everyone is working with the most up-to-date information.
Exactly. Now, speaking of organization, by default, are products sorted in any particular way?
That's a good question. The document mentions that the default sort order is based on internal system ID.
Which isn't very user-friendly.
Nope. But thankfully, you can change that. You can designate specific attributes for sorting, like price or name.
So I wanted to display cars from lowest to highest price.
You can do that. It's all about making the catalog intuitive for users.
And there are some clever tricks you can use with sorting, too.
Oh.
The document mentions that using attributes with narrow value ranges can actually create a more randomized display.
Interesting. Why would you want to do that?
It can make the catalog feel less rigid, less like a sterile database.
Like you're browsing a curated collection rather than just a list of products.
Exactly. And of course, if you decide an attribute no longer makes sense for sorting,
You can easily remove it from the sort order.
it's all about flexibility and control.
I'm really seeing how much thought goes into crafting this whole user experience.
It's not just about listing products, it's about presenting them in a way that's both informative and engaging.
We're almost at the end of part 1 here, but this is fascinating stuff.
It really is. There's so much more to explore in the world of CPQ and how it shapes the way we buy and sell products online.
It's like we're peeking behind the curtain of e-commerce.
And discovering all the intricate mechanisms that make it tick.
We'll pick up this conversation next time when we cover the commerce side of things.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Until then, keep exploring, and we'll see you back here for part 2.
See you then. It's like we're building the infrastructure for a smooth shopping experience, even if it's for businesses buying these complex products.
You don't want customers getting lost in a sea of options, right?
Exactly. And when you think about the bigger picture, this level of organization can impact sales marketing, even customer support.
Because when everyone across the business understands what each product is and what it does,
Things run a lot smoother.
now that raises a question for me. We focused on the behind-the-scenes setup of Oracle CPQ.
The nuts and bolts.
But how much of this structure, the product families, the attributes, is actually visible to the people buying the products?
Ah, that's a great question. And it can vary.
Mhm.
Some of the structure might be explicitly visible, like category names in a navigation menu.
Okay, so like when you're shopping online and you see those filters on the side?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even when it's not directly visible, it's still working behind the scenes to shape the user experience.
Can you give me an example? I'm having a hard time visualizing that.
Sure, think about those product line and model attributes. They might not be displayed front and center, but they're powering the search functionality.
So when a user types in keywords,
The system uses those attributes to find relevant products
it's the difference between finding exactly what you need instantly.
versus digging through a ton of irrelevant results,
Uh-huh. So those attributes are like the index in the back of a book.
helping users find exactly what they need.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. The logic of product families, the hierarchy attributes groups.
Quite a bit.
What does all this mean for someone actually using Oracle CPQ? Either as an admin setting it up.
Or an end user making a purchase.
Right.
Well, I think the key takeaway is this Oracle CPQ gives you incredibly powerful tools for structuring and managing product information. Like any powerful tool you need to use it thoughtfully and strategically.
It's not about using every single feature just because you can.
Exactly. It's about finding the right approach for your specific business and your specific products.
So for someone just starting out with Oracle CPQ feeling a bit overwhelmed, where should they begin?
Start simple. Focus on building a clear, logical product family structure that makes sense for your business.
Don't go crazy with tons of attributes right away.
Start with the essentials and add more as you go.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Test different configurations, see what works best for your users.
CPQ is an iterative process.
Absolutely. And that configuration product families document we've been using.
That would be a great reference for someone just getting started.
Definitely. The documentation is your friend, especially when you're first starting out.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to shift gears a bit. We've talked about CPQ, configure price quote,
Right.
but what about the actual commerce side of things? How do these two pieces fit together?
Okay, so think of CPQ as the engine that drives the configuration and pricing of those complex, customized products.
It's where you define all the rules, the options, the dependencies.
But once that configuration is complete, it needs to be seamlessly handed off to the commerce platform.
Where the actual transaction takes place.
Exactly.
So it's like CPQ is the architect designing a custom-built house.
And the commerce platform is the construction crew actually building it.
I like that analogy. And just like in that scenario, good communication is essential.
You need a shared understanding of the blueprints for a successful outcome.
Now, we've been talking about product families and attributes within the context of Oracle CPQ.
Right.
Do those same structures and concepts exist on the commerce side as well, or is it a whole different ballgame?
That's where things can get a bit tricky. Different commerce platforms have their own ways of organizing and displaying product information.
So even if the terminology isn't exactly the same.
The underlying principles are often very similar.
So the ideas of categorization, attributes, search functionality.
Those core concepts still apply.
It's just a matter of understanding how each platform implements them.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to have a holistic view of the entire process.
From initial configuration to final purchase.
You need to understand how the CPQ system interacts with the commerce platform.
To ensure a smooth and consistent experience for customers.
It's like making sure the architect and the construction crew are speaking the same language.
Otherwise, you might end up with a house that doesn't quite match the blueprints.
Exactly.
Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to something we discussed earlier.
Okay.
The strategic decision of how granular to get with product families and attributes.
Right. We talked about the pros and cons of going super specific at the model level.
But what are some other factors to consider when making those structural decisions?
That's a great question. And it really depends on the specific business and its products.
Of course.
One key factor is the complexity of the products themselves.
So if you're selling something like custom-built servers with a zillion different components.
You'd probably want a more detailed structure than if you were selling t-shirts.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Another factor to consider is the size and sophistication of the user base.
Okay, so if you're dealing with experienced technical users.
They might be comfortable navigating a more complex system.
But if your target audience is more like the average online shopper.
You'll want to keep things simple and intuitive,
It's about finding that balance between providing enough detail for power users.
while still making it easy for everyone else.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. It all comes down to understanding your products
You users.
and tailoring the structure to meet those specific needs.
It's about finding that sweet spot where complexity and simplicity intersect.
You nailed it. And that's where the real art of CPQ comes in.
It's not just about mastering the technical aspects.
It's also about understanding the business context and user needs
to create a system that truly works.
for everyone involved.
It's not just about bits and bytes, it's about people and how those people interact with the system to achieve a specific goal.
Whether it's configuring a complex product,
Or simply finding the right pair of shoes online.
precisely, technology is just a tool. It's how we use that tool that truly matters.
Well said. It's amazing how Oracle CPQ can make something so complex seem almost effortless.
It really is a testament to the power of good design when it's done well.
The user doesn't even have to think about all the intricate stuff happening behind the scenes.
They just get to enjoy the experience of finding what they need or building that perfect custom product.
It's like magic, but it's really just a lot of smart people working hard to make it happen.
Exactly. Human ingenuity at its finest.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of Oracle CPQ and how it structures product information.
I agree. It's been a fascinating exploration.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Imagine you're designing a product catalog. Maybe it's for a physical store, an online marketplace, or even just organizing your own stuff at home.
Interesting.
What kind of attributes would you consider essential? What would your hierarchy look like? How would you balance the need for detail with the desire for simplicity?
Those are great questions. It really makes you think about how these concepts apply to our everyday lives.
Because whether we're talking about complex enterprise software or just organizing our sock drawer,
The principles of good information architecture are surprisingly similar.
it's all about creating order, clarity, findability.
Exactly. Making the world a little bit easier to navigate one product or SOC at a time.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Keep exploring, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.